stepping into the world of music and earning money from it as someone that's got no links to it on the outside initially, and as you know, not grown up in that environment, doesn't know someone who's worked in that environment and is earning from it. The idea of earning money through that to sustain yourself can be a big and scary thing. But I filmed a quick video today to help you to earn your first consistent or reasonably consistent £1,000 every month, so you no longer have to do your part-time job. You can listen to me as someone that's done this myself whilst being a student, managed to quit ever working in retail. I used to work in worked in retail since I was 16. By the end of my first year of uni, I managed to quit retail completely. So you're probably also wondering, why can you trust me and what do I know about this? Well, I've had reasonable success in being able to sustain myself through music, and I'm gonna pop here now a little screenshot of just one installment from one of the music contracts that I was blessed enough to land. So you can see there that it's happened and it's doable. So I want you guys to watch the video, take the tips, and then hopefully you guys, some of you will be handing in your resignations real soon. How to make £1,000 as a music student every month. So today I'm gonna go over a few different ideas for you guys to help you as a music student, or even just someone that's trying to make some extra money on the side with music, an achievable figure of £1,000 every month. Now, if you were like me, £1,000 every month is going to be a big amount of money that's going to allow you to quit your part-time job. So I was in my first year of uni working a part-time job in retail. I was actually working for Ralph Lauren and absolutely hated it. Like, this stuff was soul destroying, and I ended up having to leave my family Christmas dinner early, left there about 7 p.m. to get back to Guildford to work a 7 a.m. shift the next day. Senior contract, and you got to do it. And from that day on, I vowed that I'd never have to work in retail again, and I started taking the music a lot more seriously. So here's some of the things I did and some other things that other students did to get by and actually no longer need that part-time job. I think most of us can agree that £1,000 every month is enough not to need the part-time job for most people. If you need more, go out and earn more and push more in these different tips that we give as well. You can easily earn more than £1,000 a month by implementing these things in there. So 1, joining a function band. So I know there's a lot of stigma behind function bands and whether or not you're gonna enjoy the work, but it's good fun and it is definitely good money. So biggest tip I can say is get a car. If you don't have a license, get a license ASAP. There's going to be so many opportunities, especially as an instrumentalist, where driving is just going to be essential for you to earn that money. So a typical function is in a venue that's often in the countryside or in the sticks somewhere, so public transport just isn't really an option for those kind of gigs with all your gear. Typically your function can earn you about £100 to £300 depending on the band you're in and how well it's booked and what sort of event it is. So take away your petrol there, or whatever your travel arrangement is. Often that can be included on top, so anywhere from £100 to £300. Now if you can get a function every weekend, you can be earning between £400 to £1,200 purely on that alone. So it's a big difference. Now you're probably not going to get a function every weekend unless you're already in a well-established function band, but you can probably get a couple functions a month, and that's a good booster there, especially when you look at the time put in to the money that you take out from that to teaching. Now, there's a whole different manner of ways you can do this, but you can go through private teaching, getting your clients yourself, your students yourself. You can approach schools. You can also join teaching schools and group schools. Like I for one teach now at the Rock School as well. So the Rock Project even. I teach at the Rock Project, and we typically I have no more than 5 students in a class at one time, and then we go into a group lesson there as well. So the advantage of working for a school or organization is that you know that you're going to have consistent work. So those sessions are already booked and prepaid for. You know that you can block off that day and get paid. Whereas if you're doing it privately, you could probably earn more money in terms of your hourly rate. You can charge more, but you've then got to deal yourself with cancellations. You've got to deal with actually getting to and from the lessons, because they're probably all happening at different places, or you're going to have to give up the privacy of your own home. And another big tip as well is to get DBS checked, because you're going to need that if you're working with kids. Also, you can also throw in tuition for GCSEs. So GCSEs and A-levels, depending on where you're at, the music GCSEs and A-levels, that is a great place for you to start marketing your tutoring services, and you'll be able to charge a bit more. Now, teaching can earn you, especially as a student, there's lots of different schools and lots of different going rates. The musicians union rate for teaching is about £32 an hour. You can charge that, and a lot of people do charge that, especially down south and closer to London. That's a standard teaching price. However, as a music student, you're probably going to be earning closer to £15 to £30 an hour. Anywhere in there, depending on where you choose to work, who you choose to work with, and what you choose to take on. But let's say you get £20 an hour. If you wanted to earn £1,000 purely from teaching, and you were taking in an average of £20 an hour, you would have to work 50 hours in a month. That's it. 50 hours in a month. You break that down, that is about 12 to 13 hours a week, but call it 12 hours for easy maths. 12-13 hours a week, and you've got that there purely from teaching. So you can see now how these different tactics already are building up on each other to grow your income, so that you don't need to be doing the part-time work. You don't need to be doing the retail job, your waitressing job, whatever it may be. There are ways that you can do this through music. The key is to be able to develop a consistent level and enough different streams that you can pull from, so when one drops off, say you got a cancellation on your teaching, you're still covered for that base income that you need for the month. So what have we done? We've done function work, we've done teaching, and spoke about the importance of having a car. The next thing we can do to earn money. Now this one's more specific to music students at a particular university, say at a school like ACM where I worked at. One thing you can do is work for the school itself. So often there's a student union where you can work there, and typically the work is very flexible, which is a big thing as well, because if you're pushing for music, you're going to need that freedom to be able to drop things in order to take the gigs that you want to get and get to where you want to go in whatever pathway that is. So working for your union is going to pay you less, but you're going to get the flexibility there. So you can earn, depending on your uni, you'd probably be earning similar to what you'd be earning in your retail store, but at least you'd be in the environment of the place that you're studying. And also what it means is your ear is close to the ground, so you're going to be the first person hearing of the different opportunities that are going. I fully recommend working at your student union, even if it's just for a couple hours a week. Fourth thing I'd say to take on, look into getting extra work in films. Now, one thing that is good, as a musician, you come in a new category as well. So often they'll be looking for musicians to play in the background in a film or advertisement, and this is a great way for you to earn money. You can earn easily £100 a day per shoot, sometimes a lot more. It all depends on what you get booked on. This work is a lot less predictable and infrequent, but join a few of the good agencies. I'll pop a link to a couple agencies below where you can sign up, and then you'll get contacted if they want to put you forward for a casting in that. But that's proved a great source as well in terms of easy good money for the time that you put in, because again, we're trying to maximize our time here, not take it away. That's pretty much it really in terms of extra ways, other than on top of your gigs that you may be doing, like pub gigs, festival gigs. You know, it depends what sort of work you're able to get and what connections you have. Some work will be free in those sort of gigs, some will pay you good money, so it's finding a good source of people that you can work with and that can connect you up to the stuff that's actually going to get you either the opportunities that you need for your music or pay you the money. So if we look at our £1,000, let's say you did one function a month for 150 quid, then you did 8 hours of teaching a week, for example. That would get you, let's do the maths here, it'll get you £160 each week, which would be £640 a month. So you're now at, with the function, the one function at 150, and teaching at 108 hours a week, 160 a week, looking at 790, so you're just under £800 a month there. Let's say you could get 10 hours of teaching a week. 10 hours of teaching at £20 an hour is going to give you £800 a month. £800 a month is going to allow you to have enough freedom, but we're looking at £1,000 just to hit that mark. Maybe you grab 1 or 2 functions a month, which would almost get you there, or just tip you over, depending on how much you get charged, how much you charge for the function and what you can get paid. And then you take on a couple of hours of work at your student union a week, which may be like £6 an hour, £5 an hour, so you can get £10-15 a week extra there. Call it 50 quid for the month, and then you're just about touching there. And then throw that on top of any other music related work you're getting, gigs, shows, you know, online revenue. If you're writing your music and you're not claiming PRS every time you play, you're leaving money on the table. But you guys can search PRS and kind of check that one out for yourselves if that applies to you. Let's put it in context and look at the amount of hours you'd have to work in retail to get the same. Let's just assume you're getting £6 an hour. I know some people get less, some people get more. So, but for the sake of this example, we'll say you're getting £6 an hour, and most people will typically work 8 to 20 hours a week. If you're working the standard 8 hours a week at £6 an hour, you'd be getting £48 per week. Times by 4, £192 a month. Bear in mind, this is 8 hours of your life every week. Like, compare this to what you're getting in the teaching or other things, or the other methods that we spoke about here. Like, it's a massive difference. Now, if we were to get £1,000 a month from that, let's actually look how many hours you'd have to work. So £1,000 divided by 6, you'd have to work roughly 166 hours in the month. Now let's just call it 160 for easy maths. 160 divided by 4, 40 hours a week. That's a full-time job. 40 hours a week is classed as a full-time job. So if you were to work to earn the same money that we spoke about in the methods that I've mentioned before, purely from your part-time job, you'd have to work 40 hours a week, which is a full-time job. And you can get the same result from doing 12 hours of teaching or 3 to 4 functions a month. I know which one sounds easier and more doable to me, and I know which one I would enjoy a lot more. And when you kind of view it like this, you can realize how much easier it really is when you get to a certain level, when you can actually see it on paper. It's so doable. So look into that. Look into your different options about where you can apply this and where you can earn this money. And then hopefully I'm going to see you guys being able to quit up on your part-time jobs like I did and earn all your income through music. My final tip would be to make sure you're treating your music as your full-time career, your full-time job. As soon as I made that switch, that's when the game changed for me, and I started being able to land the bigger jobs, the bigger paychecks, and actually develop that time and schedule to be able to take on this work. So, you know, a key defining point in my life, we had an awards ceremony, probably like year 9, year 10, 11, the later years in school. But anyway, I'd always been doing quite well in school. There was one awards evening where I'd won a good award. I can't remember what the award is, but what I do remember is one tutor who came up to me after, congratulated me and said, "Who would have thought it?" And to this day, it still grates on me now. I can see her face in my head really. So if you're watching this, yeah. It was one of the best things that happened because it really motivated me. I'm going to show you guys that I don't need to go down the traditional path to make it. So make the decision to fully commit to your music and you'll find a way to make it work.